Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Talk. It is March, and it's great to spend some time with you this week as we look ahead at what's going on in the life at Lakeview Heights Baptist Church and just kind of connect with you. Physically distant, but we still are trying to socially connect with life of the church, which of course is you, our people. So thanks for joining us this week. Lots going on at Lakeview. We are getting ready for Easter. Easter is coming. You all know this, of course.
It's like a month from today.
Is it a month? 1 month. There we go.
So fast.
It sounds, yeah, exactly, right? Like we think, 4 weeks. We got no. So Easter plans are underway. Now we're doing something different this year. And so that's why we were talking about it already a month in advance. We want to do a Seder meal together. And you're thinking, together? How's that going to work? Well, you'll all be at home. We'll connect on Zoom, but we are working out plans to kind of get everybody all the different pieces they need. And so we'll have it all figured out for next week and be able to help get you connected that way. But be thinking about it so that will be the Thursday evening before Easter, so the night before Good Friday. And we will need you to sign up in advance. So already be thinking, are we around? Are we home? Do we want to connect with this? Do we want to taste bitter herbs? Do we want to have laminars? All that kind of stuff. Be thinking about that and what that will mean for your family. And then so that you're already kind of maybe got a bit of an idea where you're leaning so that when we have yes or no information for you next week and all the details, you'll be able to say, yes, we're in. So plan for that. Think about that. Be looking ahead with us and tune in next week with more information. Seek God for the City is continuing. I thought it was interesting Wednesday. So, today when we record this, but yesterday for when you watch this, Wednesdays had us praying for gangs.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
That
and I
jumped
thought,
out at me.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. It's so bizarre because I gotta confess, I didn't expect to find myself going, I guess we're praying for gangs now. Like, and I don't know why. You know, I think that's probably a little bit of the Spirit's kind of condemning a little bit. Like, hey, why don't you pray for gangs? But it flashed me back to I think it was in our youth Christians at Our Best series we've been doing at youth group, where we were talking about evangelism one week, and the line was this: before you ever speak to somebody about God, speak to God about that person. Whoa. And that really hit me then too. So I feel like that's what we're doing this week as we seek God for the city is, we're actually bringing people to God. Yeah. Now, you might be thinking, I'm never going to the gang to speak to the gang. Okay. But you know what? It starts with prayer. Yeah. And so our encouragement to you, if you're joining us in the Seek God for the City, if you didn't do Wednesday, if you skipped it, now you're caught up.
The other thing is that in that same one, it reminded me that prodigals are everywhere and anywhere. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Even within the church, even within a good relationship, you can still be far from that person or far from God, right?
Yeah.
And there was power in that realization that I had. Totally.
And it can be seasonal, right? Where you can feel like, when you might be like, I'm real close to God now, but in 6 months, all of a sudden go, wait, actually, I've wandered a bit.
Yeah.
And that's a good reminder.
Is there even that sense to, pray for the prodigals now, but also pray for those that may find themselves in that spot 6 months, a year, 5 years, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Right. Like it could become like a, God, I pray that nothing bad will happen. I think that's not the prayer, but to say, God, as I pray for my kids, or I pray for their friends, or I pray for influencers, or even myself, 20 years from now, will I become that prodigal son, and kind of praying in that respect. That just kind of had some depth to it for me.
It reminds me just how special it made me feel when somebody told me, one of the deacons told me that we've been praying for your family for, I don't know, a year, right. Something like that, before we even knew you.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I like that.
Yeah, it was a great reminder. Again, those of you who have been doing Seek God for the City with us, glad you're along, glad you're joining in. Have you had any we know you've had a little bit of response to the email that we set up with some questions and stuff like that. So
Right.
again, that is, once more time, Jeff, what's the email?
Talk
Yeah.
at
is a test.
lakeviewheightsbaptist.com. So talk, TALK, at lakeviewheightsbaptist.com.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we've had a few people talking about their experience with Seek God for the City, a little bit of response about Ephesians. I'd love to hear more, your questions, what
Yeah.
you've grown, what you've learned about, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, yeah.
Great. Looking ahead and other stuff going on in the life of Lakeview. Hey, Mother's Day is May, but you know what, guys? We're just going to, 2 months, just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
It's never too early to start thinking, planning, how are we going to celebrate moms?
You also have to backtrack the amount of Amazon
Right?
delivery time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
you never know when a COVID outbreak is going to happen at a Canada Post sort facility, and it might just backlog the whole country. I mean, we shouldn't make light. That's a serious thing, but at the same time, it's the most Canada Post thing that could ever happen.
That's true.
Did you all get your? Speaking of Canada Post, did you get the postcards that they sent out that you can write a postcard to someone?
I heard about
No.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we got one in the mail. So it's a blank, pre-stamped postcard that you can send to anybody, which I think is awesome.
That's great.
Just to send an encouragement. So maybe don't recycle that. Take it seriously. If you're like, I'm never going to do that, then give it to me, because I have 3 kids who love to send mail, and we will happily put that to good use. So I encourage you to use your postcard. It's your tax money at work. Just do it. It's already prepaid.
And at the very least, I
Yeah.
think if you're not sure, who can I think you could send it to your local MLA or
Why not?
to somebody who is on the front lines of a send it to a nurse, send it to a doctor,
Sure.
send it to
Yeah.
somebody
Just to
who probably
encourage someone.
needs some encouragement.
Yeah.
Send it to a random nursing home.
Your local gang member. Hey, praying for you. I mean, I don't have the address. Good luck with that. But that'd be awesome. You know what's gonna happen? Someone's gonna get a note and they're like, "Dear gang member, I'm not in a gang," and they're gonna be so offended. I might have just caused a problem. But anyways, I encourage you to use it. Just send a note to encourage someone and say, I mean, this is just. I always kick myself and I'm like, man, the government is like thinking of better things than us. Like, where is my creativity at these days? Now, we didn't think to get a roll of stamps and postcards and say, hey, church, send notes to people to encourage them. So just do it. Just send a note, encourage someone. It'll be really good all around. So encourage you with that. Because again, we're trying to connect in ways even when we are physically distant. So, which leads us to the phone. That still works. We're not frozen over. Our whole systems haven't gone down, unlike other places. So we encourage you to pick up the phone. I know, Jeff, you've been calling lots of people every week, and so how's that been going? What's that been like for you as you try and get to know people and connect over the phone?
It's interesting because I can't see everybody here, so I can't see faces and connect faces with voices, which is different. But a good thing is I can have deeper conversations on the phone, kind of a private, so I get to know people almost a little better than if we were seeing each other every week and just saying hi, right?
Yeah.
So I am working my way through our directory. If you're not in the directory, call us and get in the directory, or tell Ursula to update our directory with your information. But because these conversations, I want to take time for them and enjoy getting to know you. It's taken me a while. I'm on the S's maybe, or the T's. So if your last name is beyond that, I'm sorry I haven't gotten to you yet, but I've really enjoyed the ones that I have been able to get to so far.
Great.
So, yeah.
Well, I want you to keep going with that thought. But what's occurred to me as you're saying that, we've had people new to, the directory's a year and a half old?
Yeah.
And we've had people come to join Lakeview who are not in the directory just because we haven't done a directory update through the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so you very likely are going, oh, he's at the T's and I got skipped. Why was that? Well, there's no slight. So you said call in and get in the directory. That's great, but we'd love just to, we want to know how to connect with you. So yeah, call in. By the way, we don't publish, like, it's not, you're not going to go on our website and get the directory.
Right.
We don't even put everybody's address in it. It's limited information that's in there, but we do keep it in the church office, all that information, so that when we want to get a hold of you, we can. So
Yeah,
please
and
get us your info.
It's only what you allow us to. Yeah.
Absolutely,
that we publish to our members or our people.
Absolutely. So again, if you've in the last, year and a half or so, you've been like, I feel really like Lakeview's my home, that's my church. We want to make sure you're getting the info. So, you've found us on YouTube, that's great.
Yeah.
Maybe you live in West Kelowna, maybe you don't. We want to know how to connect. So we'd love for you to reach out. Send us an email with all the information. You can send it to office@lakeviewheightsbaptist.com, and then Ursula will add your information to our list of people that we try and connect with regularly. So,
And I mean, if you have kind of just stumbled onto us on YouTube and I mean, there's still Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these different ways that you can connect, and go to lakeviewheightsbaptist.com to find even all that, or phones, or like whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of different ways to connect. So
Yeah,
And
definitely.
what's also too, sometimes people even do still pop in the office, and we don't want to have a big rush of people in the office, but you are welcome to come down and stop inside. But typically what I've noticed is people, when they come in, they're like just 30 seconds just saying, hey, I got to drop this off, I got to pick this up, and they're on their way. So it's really not a great chance for you to, I know you've been working real hard at getting to say hi to anybody who comes in, and you've been trying to meet people that way, but really the phone is best, right?
It's the way that we've been able to talk more, Although there's some that we've had a little bit of conversation right at the door or whatever.
Yeah.
And, now that the weather's getting better, we could step outside and, but, which reminds me, tax receipts, you can still pick them up.
Oh, yeah, there's a
at the
few to pick
office.
up.
So, we'll
It's that season.
make sure you get those, but, something else?
Well, you were telling us earlier, you mentioned that you were having good conversations. What kind of feedback are you getting from people as you chat?
Before I get into that, I just had to remember that this week is Communion Sunday.
Oh, yes, it is.
We want to make sure you are ready for that, so that you have your bread and drink ready for that during the Sunday service. But getting back to that, it's been really good. I am finding that we are tired. Everybody's tired of COVID. Everybody's missing getting together. We all do, and we just struggle with that. So we just want to encourage you. We want to encourage you to encourage each other with the postcards, with the phone call. Pick up the phone and call somebody you don't normally call and just say hi. Thinking about you, just wanted to call and say hi, and if a conversation ensues, that's great. If it doesn't, they're encouraged. But we are recognizing that people are hurting. Even the fact that we don't even know what's going on in a lot of each other's lives, because we're not able to share everybody's lives here. You can't know what's going on in everybody's lives because we don't see each other. And we're struggling. So we wanted to share with you that as churches in our denomination in BC, we're talking about this as well. We're all really struggling. And so our executive council got together. How would you explain the executive council to people that might not know?
It's like the church board in a way, but oversees the association and the position the association takes.
The BC NABC Church.
Yes.
And NABC, for people that don't know, is North American Baptist Conference. That's the denomination that we're a part of. And there's, 20 churches in BC?
27, I think.
27. So all over BC, and the council is representatives from different churches that meet to kind of give oversight to, directives to our churches. So they are recognizing the concern that we have about COVID and about we're really missing, getting together. And so they met just to say, how would we direct churches? And we just wanted to kind of read a couple snippets from the email that they sent.
And even with that, like, we were talking earlier about, like, we understand what is happening for the most part. There's a behind the scenes murmuring of stuff that's happening in our society, stuff that's happening in social ways in a lot of different churches, and please know that we as leadership, as pastors, as our board, we're not ignorant of that either. Mm-hmm. We're completely aware for the most part, but we wanted to actually just kind of talk about what it is that we're about. And we've been saying it for a year.
Yeah.
Like, which hasn't changed much of anything, but this is something that's a little bit more formal from our BC executive.
And really, though, it's just affirming. I mean, it's just sort of saying, hey, so here's when I read it, what kind of went through my mind is a little bit like, look, okay, what's the scriptural encouragement? Keep your eyes on Jesus. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Just keep going. And so what does Paul say? Run the good race, right? And just so. You know what? That's for me. All this said is, hey, just keep going. We know you're tired. I've been reading. You see it in the paper. You'll see it online. What is the BC? Is it? I don't think it's the CDC, but it's the Ministry of Health keeps having these advertisements. Right, the last miles of the race are the hardest.
Yeah.
And so we just want to say, church, just keep going.
Yep.
Just keep going. That was ringing in my ears as I read. So Jeff, why don't you share a few lines?
So I'll share, and even as we provide commentary on it, I just want to add, as both of you were talking, what Ephesians was talking about. We are God's body. Pastor Chris talked about this on Sunday. We are the body, unified, but to do His work in the world, to show His glory. And so take all this with that in mind. So what our executive council said was they've had many earnest conversations with church leaders over the past month. The bottom line for most of our leaders is the heartfelt recognition that there is a deep longing to be able to hug, to sing, to eat, and worship again in person. So we acknowledge that. We all long for that.
Yeah.
But there is no desire to do that if there's the possibility of hurting even one person by spreading the virus to them. People are dying from the virus, even healthy people. And so we just want to acknowledge that. And so the Executive Council had an extended call meeting to discuss this on March 1st. They have unanimously concluded that resorting to civil disobedience by disobeying the direct mandate of the province and beginning public worship services on Sundays will only further alienate the church from our communities. We are God's body to make Him known to our communities. We don't want to alienate from our communities. That just for us to be self-focused is not the point. It's to serve the Lord in our world. So that will do little, if anything, to bring an understanding and witness of the good news of Christ's love and sacrifice for them. We have done so well up to this point. With the warmer weather and vaccines being administered over the next few months, we're confident that church buildings will be open for public worship in the not too distant future. Let us not grow weary, as you said, in our prayer and care for each other and our communities. So that's just an encouragement that, yes, we are tired, but this is our call right now, I think, as God's body, right? I don't know if you guys want to comment anymore.
It just reaffirms that thought of, a deeper love is actually more sacrificial than it is trying to give everything to, like, even as a parent, I would rather sacrifice for my children than to try and just give them everything that they might want, even if it's not good for them in the long term, right? And so we would rather sacrifice certain things so that we can take care of all of you and all of us and all of our families and all the vulnerable, and it shows greater, deeper love when we can say, you know what, we'll step back, we'll refrain for right now so that it can be better later. Because could you imagine, right, if we push through, push ahead, and somebody does get it in our gathering, right? Would that not have a long-term negative lasting effect than holding off for a bit, right? I think that would be more hurtful to the people that we care about on the other side of this camera. It would be more hurtful to our, like this says, to our witness of what the gospel is about, and to be a part of the community that we're in, right?
And in church, just so we're totally clear, none of this is fear-based at all. We're not afraid of getting sick. I'm not afraid of making others sick, but I want to make sure I'm representing Jesus well in my community. And that's the concern, is that, and by concern, again, not afraid, but practical. Because I think what we've seen is when churches gather, what people hear is not how important it is to gather. What is heard is, I'm not important enough for you to stay home. And that hurts our ability to witness. Jesus will reach that person. The Holy Spirit will speak into their heart and draw them in any way we can, but we want to make sure we get to be part of that and create avenues for discussion. But we kind of close those avenues off when we make it all about our right, instead of our witness and the ability to amplify the voice of the Holy Spirit in someone else. And so we just encourage you, again, yes, we're all tired. Man, I personally, we miss it. I miss it, but in due time. And we get all of eternity to do it, right? So what is this but a blip compared to eternity, when we're going to be at the feet of Jesus proclaiming his praises? If we can just sort of as a church just sit back and go, okay, this is momentary. Yeah, it's been a year.
So I was actually going to say, it's interesting that we're even talking about this, but actually quite appropriate, because it's within that 2-week window of being a year of our shutdown, right? And where it kind of came to Canadian shores. And so like how appropriate it is that we would just reaffirm, and we've kind of said that a couple of times, but we've said it a whole bunch this morning. We're reaffirming what we already have said, but we already believe, what we continue to do, because it's essentially what we've been talking about. We'll speak the truth in love. We will be the truth in love in all of this. And the other side, the other thing too, just in case there's any question in your mind, if the public health orders are changed tomorrow, like we're following public health orders. That's what we're doing. So if all of a sudden it's like gather, doors are open. We'll figure out, like we're within those confines, whatever they are. So don't think that we aren't ready to act when those orders change. We're just going to continue to follow the orders. And so it's so much is in place so that we can have people in, we just keep listening to the updates and joining us right here for Coffee Talk and on the phone and reach out to one another and be the encouragement in someone else's life this week, and then you get to be the church. And that's what we're just going to encourage you to do.
Let's call somebody that we haven't talked to. Think about Monday, Thursday, that being online, Zoom together, in each other's homes, let's think about the things we can do and do them well for each other and for our community. I think that's great.
So I think that's pretty much it for us this week. Thanks for catching that communion is this Sunday. So, get some juice or wine or whatever is going to be in your cup, and some bread, unleavened or otherwise, whatever, premium plus cracker, whatever you got. It's not about it's about what it represents, not about what's actually there. Anyways, that being said, we'll see you Sunday morning. and looking forward to worshiping with you again. And we'll connect back with you right here next week as well. We'll see you soon.
God bless.